What happens when 50 Cent steps into the role of storyteller and begins shaping narratives that others thought were already settled? That question now sits at the center of a rapidly escalating controversy, one that has spread across the hip-hop world with surprising speed and intensity. It all began with the quiet circulation of a documentary clip, footage that wasn't initially meant for mass public release. According to multiple reports and online chatter, this material contained raw, unfiltered moments featuring several well-known artists. Moments that, until now, were assumed to be private, controlled, or at the very least, presented in a carefully managed way. But once fragments of that footage started leaking, everything changed. Clips began surfacing across social media platforms, sparking immediate reactions. Some artists allegedly felt blindsided, claiming the footage portrayed them in ways they didn't agree with. Accusations of selective editing, misrepresentation, and narrative manipulation quickly followed. What may have started as private frustration soon spilled into the public eye, transforming into a full-scale debate. Social media didn't just react, it erupted. Timelines filled with cryptic posts, indirect responses, and subtle call-outs. Some artists chose to speak in coded language, hinting at dissatisfaction without naming names. Others appeared more direct, suggesting that the documentary crossed certain lines. Fans, as always, stepped into the chaos, analyzing every post, every caption, and every emoji, trying to piece together what was really happening behind the scenes. But what makes this situation more complex is that it doesn't seem to be just about a documentary. At its core, this controversy touches on something much deeper: control over narrative. In an industry like hip-hop, where legacy, reputation, and authenticity carry enormous weight, who gets to tell the story matters. And when someone as influential as 50 Cent takes control of that storytelling, it inevitably creates tension. Because storytelling isn't neutral. It involves choices: what to include, what to leave out, how to frame events, and whose perspective takes center stage. And when those choices don't align with how others see themselves or their history, conflict becomes almost unavoidable. To understand why this reaction has been so intense, you have to look at 50 Cent's history in the industry. He has never been someone who operates quietly. Throughout his career, he has built a reputation not just as a rapper, but as a strategist, someone who understands how to turn real-life situations into moments that dominate public conversation. Whether through music, interviews, or visual media, he has consistently positioned himself as someone willing to challenge narratives and confront uncomfortable truths. That approach has brought him both success and controversy. His ventures into film and television expanded his influence even further, giving him platforms where he could shape stories on a larger scale. But with that power comes responsibility and scrutiny. Because when stories involve real people, real relationships, and real history, the stakes are much higher. According to insider discussions, the documentary in question includes appearances or references to multiple artists who may not have expected their contributions to be presented in the way they were. Some reportedly believed they were participating in a project that would align with a certain narrative or tone. But the leaked footage suggests that the final version, or at least parts of it, may tell a different story. And that disconnect is where the tension lies. For artists, participating in a documentary is often about legacy. It's a chance to present their journey, clarify misunderstandings, and shape how they are remembered. But when the final product doesn't reflect that intention, it can feel like a loss of control. And in hip-hop, control over one's image is everything. As the situation continues to unfold, another layer of complexity has emerged. Some voices within the industry suggest that the reactions aren't just about how individuals are portrayed, but about deeper, unresolved issues. Old rivalries, past disagreements, and long-standing tensions may be resurfacing through this project. In that sense, the documentary may not just be telling a story. it may be reopening chapters that many believed were already closed. At the same time, not everyone has spoken out. Interestingly, some artists have remained completely silent, but that silence isn't being interpreted as indifference. Instead, many believe it signals caution, because if the footage connects to deeper issues, things that haven't been publicly addressed, speaking too soon could make the situation even more complicated. So for now, they're watching, waiting, assessing how the narrative develops before deciding how, or if, they should respond. Meanwhile, fans and commentators continue to dissect every detail. Online discussions have shifted from simple reactions to full-scale analysis. People are debating not just what's in the footage, but what it represents. Is this an attempt to reveal hidden truths, or is it a calculated move that reshapes reality to fit a specific narrative? The answer isn't clear, and that uncertainty is exactly what's fueling the controversy. Because in the absence of confirmed information, speculation fills the gap. Every new clip, every rumored detail, every insider claim adds another piece to a puzzle that no one has fully solved yet. What's certain, though, is this: the situation is far from over. If anything, it's just beginning. As more footage potentially surfaces and more voices enter the conversation, the narrative could shift again and again. Alliances may change, new perspectives may emerge, and the story that people think they understand right now could look completely different in a matter of days. So the real question isn't just whether 50 Cent uncovered something. It's whether this moment will redefine how stories are told in hip-hop, and who gets to tell them. Because if the reactions so far are any indication, this isn't just a controversy. It's the start of something much bigger. The controversy surrounding 50 Cent has intensified following the leak of documentary footage that reportedly features multiple prominent figures in hip-hop. Sources suggest that some of the artists involved or referenced feel certain clips may have been edited in a way that emphasizes tension, contradiction, or conflict, potentially affecting their public image. While no official statements have confirmed these claims, industry chatter indicates the dissatisfaction is spreading, raising questions about how the footage is perceived. In the modern media landscape, perception is everything. Even a single clip, taken out of context or framed with a specific narrative, can spread across social platforms in minutes, shaping public opinion long before any clarification is provided. Documentary content, particularly when it involves well-known figures, doesn't simply exist as archived storytelling. It becomes active material influencing real-time conversations. And with the stakes so high in hip-hop, the impact multiplies rapidly. The controversy surrounding 50 Cent escalated dramatically following the leak of documentary footage that reportedly features several high-profile figures in hip-hop. Multiple unnamed sources suggest that some of the artists involved, or referenced within the project, believe certain moments were framed in a way that emphasizes conflict, tension, or contradiction, potentially damaging their public image. While these claims have not been officially confirmed, chatter within the industry indicates the dissatisfaction is spreading, hinting at a larger ripple effect. At the heart of the issue is the disconnect between participation and presentation. Many of the artists featured reportedly assumed their contributions would be contextualized within a controlled narrative. They expected the footage to capture their stories in a way that reflected their intended messages. Instead, portions of the leaked material appear to tell a different story, highlighting moments in ways that some feel distort the original intent. That discrepancy between expectation and final presentation has become the central point driving the backlash. In an industry where image and perception are everything, even a minor shift in context can have significant consequences. The framing of footage, subtle or overt, can reshape how an artist is viewed by fans, peers, and the media. When the leaked clips began circulating, reactions quickly escalated. Private concerns reportedly transformed into broader discussions as individuals connected to the documentary began reviewing how their contributions might be interpreted publicly. According to insider accounts, tense conversations may have already started between some artists and those involved in production, touching on issues such as consent, narrative control, and whether clarifications or corrections might be necessary before the documentary's full release. Meanwhile, fans dissected the leaked footage frame by frame, analyzing body language, tone, and phrasing. Some argued that the documentary offered previously hidden truths, providing an unfiltered glimpse into industry dynamics and interpersonal relationships. Others contended that selective editing could easily skew the meaning of moments, particularly when viewers lacked access to the complete context. Social media quickly became the battleground where these debates played out, and commentary channels, influencers, and entertainment journalists added their own breakdowns, theories, and interpretations, further amplifying the controversy. 50 Cent's central role added another layer to the unfolding situation. Known not just as a performer but as a strategist and provocateur, he has a long history of exposing narratives, challenging industry behavior, and shaping public conversations through media. For some, his involvement reinforces the idea that the documentary was intended to spark discussion and examine the realities of the industry. For others, it raised questions about bias and intent. How much influence should one individual have in portraying multiple artists, and what responsibilities exist when reputations are at stake? As the initial reaction spread, reports suggested that the backlash may not be limited to a handful of individuals. Some sources claim that multiple artists connected to the documentary are now reconsidering their participation, questioning whether their appearances were framed fairly and if their narratives were accurately represented. This growing internal scrutiny hints at a broader ripple effect, where what began as isolated frustration could escalate into a more widespread challenge to the project's narrative structure and editorial choices. The second twist came as insiders indicated that some participants believed the overall construction of the documentary may position specific narratives in ways that subtly contrast with how events were experienced by the individuals themselves. Moments intended to be minor or contextualized differently might have been highlighted in a way that emphasizes disagreement or tension. This realization reportedly sparked a shift in tone behind the scenes, turning quiet frustration into coordinated concern. Private discussions allegedly began between artists, their representatives, and members of the production team, focusing on potential misrepresentation and the strategic implications of how the material was presented. Simultaneously, social media activity surged. Cryptic posts and indirect references began appearing from accounts linked to those featured in the documentary. Without naming the project directly, these posts touched on themes such as misrepresentation, selective storytelling, and unresolved narratives. Fans quickly connected the dots, interpreting these messages as confirmation that tension was simmering behind the scenes. The commentary ranged from subtle critiques to pointed challenges, reflecting a complex interplay between personal reputation, public perception, and the uncontrollable spread of content in a hyperconnected media environment. As debates intensified, the divide among fans became pronounced. Some argued that the footage exposes truths long concealed, giving audiences insight into the realities of collaboration, rivalry, and decision-making within hip-hop culture. Others warned against drawing conclusions from fragmented content, emphasizing that selective editing can dramatically alter the perceived meaning of conversations and interactions. Influencers and commentary channels further fueled the debate, providing analysis and theories that often contradicted one another, keeping the public speculation alive and dynamic. The situation highlights the power and consequences of narrative control in modern media. Documentaries, while often positioned as objective storytelling, are inherently shaped by editorial decisions, framing, and context. When the subjects are influential figures in a competitive, image-conscious industry, the stakes are magnified. Perception can influence careers, reputations, and relationships, turning what might otherwise be a historical or artistic record into a high-pressure, real-time public debate. Insiders also suggested that the leaked footage may only be the beginning of broader developments. Artists reportedly continue to review their involvement, evaluate potential responses, and consider how their words and actions might be interpreted. This behind-the-scenes tension has created a volatile environment in which any further leaks, statements, or clarifications could drastically shift public perception and intensify the controversy. Ultimately, the situation surrounding 50 Cent's documentary is about more than just footage. It reflects deeper questions about control, influence, and responsibility in storytelling, particularly when the lives and reputations of multiple prominent artists are involved. The interplay between private perception and public reaction has created a dynamic in which even subtle cues or edits can generate substantial consequences. What began as internal concern among a few participants has evolved into a multi-layered conflict encompassing the industry, fans, and commentators alike. As the story continues to unfold, unanswered questions remain. Will more footage be released to clarify context or reshape narratives? Will any artists make formal statements to assert their perspectives? Or will the controversy continue to escalate as more individuals publicly weigh in? Each new development has the potential to shift the narrative, affecting not only how audiences interpret this specific documentary, but also broader understandings of transparency, representativity, and influence in hip-hop media. In conclusion, the controversy is far from settled. The leaked documentary footage sparked the initial wave of scrutiny, but it is the combination of selective framing, editorial decisions, and the hyperconnected nature of social media that has transformed it into a full-blown public debate. Artists, fans, and commentators are all engaged in an ongoing conversation about truth, representation, and power. With 50 Cent at the center, the stakes remain high, and every new clip, post, or insider claim can alter the trajectory of the controversy. This evolving story illustrates how, in today's media landscape, content doesn't simply exist. It interacts, provokes, and reverberates across multiple levels, ensuring that the discussion is far from over. The controversy surrounding 50 Cent escalated sharply as leaked documentary footage began circulating online. Multiple unnamed sources indicate that some of the artists featured or referenced believe certain moments were framed to emphasize conflict, tension, or contradiction, potentially impacting their public image. While no official confirmations exist, industry chatter suggests dissatisfaction is spreading, hinting at a broader ripple effect. At the core of the backlash is the gap between participation and presentation. Many of the featured artists reportedly expected their contributions to be contextualized within a controlled narrative. They anticipated that the footage would accurately reflect their perspectives, but the leaks appear to tell a different story. Moments once considered minor may have been highlighted to create impressions of disagreement or tension, and this perceived misrepresentation is what drives much of the current debate. In an industry where image and perception are everything, even subtle shifts in context can profoundly affect public opinion. The leaked footage circulated rapidly across social media, triggering immediate reactions. Private concerns reportedly escalated as individuals reviewed how their contributions could be interpreted publicly. Tense conversations began behind the scenes between artists, their representatives, and members of the production team, focusing on consent, narrative control, and whether clarifications or corrections would be necessary. Fans, meanwhile, dissected the material frame by frame, debating tone, phrasing, and body language, while commentary channels and influencers added their own interpretations, further amplifying the controversy. 50 Cent's central role adds yet another layer of complexity. Known not only as an artist but as a strategist, storyteller, and provocateur, he has built a reputation for challenging industry behavior and exposing narratives that others might prefer to keep hidden. Some observers see his involvement as lending credibility to the project's aim of presenting unfiltered realities. Others argue that his history of outspoken commentary could influence how events are framed, whether intentionally or not, raising questions about bias, editorial responsibility, and the power one individual holds over multiple artists' narratives. The controversy intensified as reports suggested that the backlash might extend beyond a handful of individuals. Several artists reportedly began reassessing their appearances in the project, concerned that their contributions were being misrepresented. This internal review could have ripple effects, potentially impacting the documentary's broader narrative and influencing future collaborations. What began as isolated frustration is now a multi-layered discussion about reputation, creative control, and public perception. At the heart of the backlash is the disconnect between participation and presentation. Many of the featured artists reportedly expected their contributions to be presented within a controlled narrative framework, accurately reflecting their viewpoints. Instead, leaked segments appear to tell a different story. Moments once considered minor may have been emphasized to create impressions of disagreement, misalignment, or tension, and this perceived misrepresentation has fueled much of the current debate. In an industry where image and perception are paramount, even subtle shifts in context can significantly affect public perception. As the footage spread, private frustrations reportedly escalated into broader concern. Artists and their representatives began reviewing the clips, discussing how moments might be interpreted publicly. Behind the scenes, conversations reportedly focused on questions of consent, editorial control, and whether clarifications or corrections were needed. Meanwhile, fans dissected the material frame by frame, debating tone, phrasing, and context. Commentary channels and influencers entered the conversation, offering analyses and interpretations, which amplified the controversy and heightened public scrutiny. 50 Cent's involvement adds complexity to the situation, known not only as an artist but as a strategist, storyteller, and provocateur. He has a history of challenging industry norms, exposing hidden narratives, and turning personal and professional disputes into public discussion points. Supporters argue that his presence lends credibility to the project's aim of providing raw, unfiltered insight into hip-hop dynamics. Critics counter that his outspoken reputation may bias how events are framed, raising questions about editorial responsibility and the influence one individual can exert over multiple narratives. Industry insiders suggest that the backlash may extend beyond a few individuals. Several artists reportedly began reassessing their appearances in the documentary, concerned that their contributions were misrepresented. Some may be reconsidering future collaborations or how they participate in similar projects. What initially appeared to be isolated frustration has evolved into a broader discussion about reputation, narrative control, and professional relationships, affecting both current and potentially future industry dynamics. Social media activity quickly intensified. Cryptic posts appeared from accounts believed to be connected to those involved, referencing misrepresentation, selective storytelling, and unfinished narratives. Fans linked these messages to the ongoing controversy, speculating about hidden context or unreleased material. The reactions split audiences into two main camps. Supporters of the documentary praised it as a behind-the-scenes glimpse of hip-hop, while critics warned that selective editing could mislead viewers and distort the truth. Commentary channels and hip-hop analysts weighed in, offering multiple perspectives. Some emphasize that documentary storytelling inherently involves editorial decisions that can shape perception, while others argued that when real people's reputations are involved, accuracy becomes critical. Fan communities revisited prior interviews, public appearances, and historical events, attempting to connect them to the leaked material. Threads circulated highlighting inconsistencies or patterns in behavior, suggesting that the controversy may not be isolated to the present, but instead reflects long-standing narratives within the hip-hop industry. The leaked footage triggered debates over editorial authority, creative control, and narrative responsibility. No unified explanation has been provided, leaving tension unresolved. Every new reaction or claim has the potential to reshape the conversation. As a result, the controversy has grown from a disagreement about documentary content into a larger debate about storytelling, influence, and perception in the entertainment industry. Many observers note that the story continues to evolve in real time. Viewers analyze every clip, screenshot, and alleged leak, often drawing conclusions based on partial information. Supporters of 50 Cent argue that the project provides an unfiltered, truthful perspective on the hip-hop world, exposing dynamics typically hidden behind public personas. Critics, however, contend that selective editing can create misleading impressions, emphasizing certain moments while omitting others. The debate intensified as creators across YouTube, TikTok, and other platforms began producing detailed breakdowns, slowing down clips, analyzing tone, and highlighting perceived discrepancies. Meanwhile, industry insiders suggest the controversy may have broader consequences. Some artists are reportedly reconsidering how future collaborations and appearances will be handled, indicating that the fallout could extend beyond the documentary itself. These discussions reportedly involve questions of consent, narrative framing, and professional reputation, signaling that the stakes are higher than initially assumed. Private deliberations combined with public debate have created a volatile environment where any new post, leak, or insider claim can escalate tensions further. Fan communities began forming factions, with some aligning with the documentary's perspective and others rallying behind artists who felt misrepresented. Comment sections became arenas of heated discussion, with users defending their viewpoints passionately and refusing to concede ground. Cryptic messages from anonymous accounts connected to the project fueled speculation about unfinished edits, missing context, and misunderstood intent. Although unverified, these posts intensified the perception that there may be more to the story than what had been revealed publicly. Analysts and commentators noted the speed at which narratives can shift in the digital age, where a single clip can reach millions of viewers within hours, influencing public opinion before any official clarification. Reactions from individuals indirectly connected to the situation, through past collaborations, interviews, or industry proximity, fueled further speculation about the scope of the documentary's impact. Within this environment, 50 Cent remains a polarizing figure, with opinions divided over whether he is a truth-teller revealing realities or a provocateur whose projects naturally generate controversy. The situation took another turn when unverified reports suggested the existence of additional, unreleased footage. Sources indicate that viewers have only seen a portion of the content, with some segments allegedly withheld, restructured, or reserved for future release. The potential for unreleased clips created new anticipation, as additional context could either support the existing narrative, contradict it, or introduce entirely new interpretations. The possibility of more material heightened tension, as it could clarify misunderstandings or further deepen the divide among those involved. As speculation grew, insiders report that some individuals connected to the project are reevaluating their public positions. Behind-the-scenes discussions may be considering whether to address the controversy directly, remain silent, or respond strategically depending on how the narrative evolves. Fans and commentators are closely monitoring for any sign of official statements, follow-up releases, or clarifications that could confirm or dispute circulating claims. The uncertainty surrounding these developments is driving continued discussion, with each new piece of information holding the potential to dramatically shift the story. Ultimately, what began as leaked footage has evolved into a multi-layered controversy involving narrative control, reputation management, industry dynamics, and the potential for unseen material yet to emerge. Key questions remain unanswered. Is the current footage the full story, or just a fragment of something larger? Will additional content be released to provide clarity, or will speculation dominate? How will those involved respond if future information confirms or contradicts public perceptions? As the situation develops, the intensity of public debate continues to grow. Supporters argue that the documentary exposes hidden truths within hip-hop, while critics caution against misrepresentation and selective editing. Fan communities, commentary creators, and industry insiders are all contributing to a complex, evolving discussion about storytelling, influence, and perception. The gap between perception and reality remains central, keeping the controversy under constant scrutiny. The story is far from over. With each new reaction, claim, or potential release, the narrative shifts. The most revealing moments may still lie ahead, and the next developments could redefine how the documentary and similar projects are understood. Whether the controversy resolves peacefully or escalates further depends on future statements, additional footage, and how artists navigate the delicate balance between truth, narrative control, and public perception. For viewers and fans, the debate remains open-ended. Do you side with the artists who feel misrepresented, or do you believe reactions are overblown due to selective interpretation? There's no definitive answer, but every perspective adds to the conversation, shaping the way the controversy continues to unfold. As new information emerges, this situation has the potential to become a defining moment in hip-hop documentary storytelling, influencing how narratives are approached and understood for years to come.